Hi, amigas. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily CAFECITO, or if you're watching this on YouTube, girl, welcome back to another video on my channel. Hi, you guys. Happy Monday or whatever day you're watching this on. I hope you guys are having such a good week so far. And yeah, we have a very interesting topic. And I say interesting because I feel like it's going to be a little bit different than anything else that I have talked about here on the podcast, because I really want to take the time to applaud ourselves and applaud the work that we have done. Because if you have been listening to me on my podcast since I've started, it's almost been a year, you guys. I feel like we have taken the time to do so much work. And if you have been listening to me since I've started, that is 1 year, you guys, of personal development, of doing the work on our inner self. So we need an episode where we're going to applaud ourselves and really, dive into the whole maturity. And yeah, I just turned 26, you guys, a weekend ago. And I think I had a little bit of an epiphany. I feel like I'm entering a new stage of maturity for myself. And I think it was just a huge shift in myself. I don't know, just a shift where I'm no longer apologizing for who I am. I'm no longer apologizing for setting boundaries. I'm no longer apologizing for cutting people off, because I'm literally entering an era in my life, you guys, where I just feel like a señora. I'm just so much more strict on the people that I allow into my life, because I have done so much to work on myself and develop myself to the woman that I am today, that I think I deserve that. I think I deserve the applaud for ourselves, or for us. We all deserve to applaud ourselves once in a while. So, you guys, drink your cafecito, grab a little cup of coffee, grab some water, because we are about to get right into it. All right, you guys, I literally wrote everything down because I have 5 major things and 5 major topics that I really want to talk about. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. So number 1 is setting boundaries. When I was in a stage in my life where I kind of allowed people to treat me however the fuck they wanted, and I was always so very forgiving and so understandable, I guess I would always try to put myself in the other person's shoes. And that allowed me to always feel like shit for the way that people used to treat me. But I think I would almost ignore it, because I would pretty much tear myself down if I were to ever set a boundary or disappoint somebody, right? That's the exact word. I always felt like I was disappointing someone by either setting a boundary or letting them know that the way that they made me feel wasn't okay, And girl, I am in a stage of my life after being 26. I no longer give a fuck. I no longer care about hurting someone's feelings if they treated me in a way that I felt like I didn't deserve, or if they just simply didn't do something that or if they did something that hurt me. And I think for a long time, I was always so hard on myself. I would kind of tear myself down whenever I set a standard or a boundary, because I wasn't confident in who I was. I wasn't confident in my decisions and my choices and pretty much the person that I was. And that made me accept certain, actions from people, and the way that people treated me wasn't always the best, but it was because I allowed it, and I did not have an exact standard on how I was going to allow people to treat me. So when it comes to setting boundaries, I need you guys to make the mindset shift of feeling guilty to you are confident in who you are, and you know that you setting that boundary is to protect your own inner peace and to protect the hard work that you have done on yourself. Because if you're listening to me, I know that you guys have been on a journey of self-development, on self-growth, and just learning to be the fucking bad bitch that I know that you are, and that I know that we can all be, right? So number 1, you guys, no longer apologizing for setting boundaries and cutting people off and setting a standard. And I think you really realize the type of standards that you set when you have different people come into your life. And I'm referring to, you guys, different relationships. This could be friendships. This could be, love relationships. This can be family members, whatever it is. When you experience someone who treats you really, really well, you understand that, like, it's almost like a shock. You're like, what the fuck? Like, why is that person being so nice to me? Like, I've never been treated this way. Like, and I've dealt with that, you guys, with friendships. Like, friendships is such a huge thing to me. The friends that I have now have literally respected me and treated me in such a different level that I'm like, it made me realize the type of standard that I had for my friendships. And I'm like, that was all up to me. And I think honestly, going through the years and getting older, I start to set aside or start to really develop my own maturity, that at the point that I am now, I'm like, damn, like the friends that I literally have in my life now, like my old friends could never, you know what I mean? And it's also because I decided to set a standard and set a boundary. And that's no shade, you guys, to past friendships that I've had that I feel like have not worked out, because I feel like they also did teach me the way that I wanted to be treated and the standards that I want to set for myself and for my friendship. So literally, you guys, I'm in a point where if you're in my life, I feel like you should feel lucky. And I say lucky because I am a very honest, giving, and I'm just such a good person. I have worked so hard on myself that I am no longer going to allow just anybody in. I'm just in that era. I'm in that space. And I feel like many of us are in that space now. And I'm sharing this with you guys because I want to share with you guys that it's okay to have a very high standard, and it's okay to set those boundaries with people who have not treated you the best. Okay. No need to feel guilty, girl. Because I feel like for a long time I was over here feeling guilty. And now I'm like, man, fuck that bitch. Like, why the hell was I feeling guilty about, cutting it off with her or setting a boundary with her? Like, no, I'm not going to be treated this way because, girl, I have bigger and better things coming for my life and bigger things that I'm working on that I do not have the time to be feeling guilty over cutting somebody off. Okay. Anyways, let's move on to number 2, which we kind of did talk about. Learn to forgive yourself. When you are stepping into this setting of just being a very mature woman or just being a señora, basically, we're literally entering our señora era. We have to learn, you guys, to forgive our past. Forgive the person that we were, forgive the mistakes, the faults, whatever things that we are not proud of. Just learn to forgive. We are human. We are not perfect. If you or your friendships, your relationships, your family members are expecting a perfect person, girl, set that standard, because as a human, you guys, none of us are perfect. You're not perfect. You're not perfect. Like, nobody is perfect. You're gonna make mistakes. The whole point is to not dwell on that mistake. Whatever it is that you did, whatever mistake that you've made, learn from it, grow from it, do not repeat it, and move the fuck on. I feel like that is literally my key and my little, my formula, you guys, to just learning to forgive yourself is to be present in that mistake, understand what you did, and move on. Like, learn from it, you guys. Don't repeat it and move on. Learn to be forgiving for yourself, because I guarantee, like, no person is better than the next person, right? Like, you're not better than me. I'm not better than you, because we're both making the mistakes. I feel like what does make you better from another person making a mistake is if you're learning from it, you're taking the lesson from it, you're not repeating it, and you're moving on. Okay. I had to share that with you guys because I feel like as women, we are so fucking hard on ourselves. And I'm done with that. Like, I'm just done being so hard on myself. And the reason is because I have taken the time to develop the woman that I am today, that I'm just going to learn to forgive who I am, and understand that I'm going to go through life continuing to make mistakes, and so are you. And it's okay. It is okay to make mistakes, you guys, as long as you don't repeat them, as long as you learn the lesson from it, but just move on. You are not doing anybody a favor by dwelling and holding and clinging on to your mistakes, or not being proud of the person that you once were, because you're just making yourself miserable. You're making yourself unhappy. And understand that, like, you're not the first nor the last person to make a mistake and to hold on to it. And it's okay. Just learn to let go, learn to forgive yourself, because you are a person too. You are a human too. I feel like us in our heads, you guys, we do not treat ourselves like living humans. And that is one thing that we really need to understand, is that, like, we're a person too. And one thing that has really helped me is to look at a baby picture of myself, or like a picture as a little girl. And I understand that when I am looking at that photo, I'm like, when I'm forgiving, a mistake that I made or something that I'm not proud of, I will look at her and be like, I'm forgiving her. I'm forgiving her because as long as you are taking the time, you guys, okay, I need to share this with you guys. What makes someone a good and a bad person, I feel like, is the way that you react to your mistakes. A bad person is going to continue to make mistakes purposefully, have no type of guilt, no type of they're not going to care. They're going to continue to be that person. A good person, this is what makes you a good person, is the fact that you dwell and you sit there and you think and you constantly feel guilty about making a mistake. What you need to do, you guys, is learn that, again, you're never going to stop making mistakes, but you need to learn to forgive yourself and move on in order to protect your inner peace. And girl, if that is not maturity, I do not know what is. Okay, but let's move on to the next one. Another thing that I want to talk about is no longer apologizing for who you are. I feel like we already touched on that subject, but that is huge for me. We have taken the time to develop and, again, become the woman that we are and just be so confident in who we are that we need to stop apologizing for being ourselves, you guys. Like, no longer giving a fuck. Like, I'm going to share with you guys kind of what I'm talking about when I say, like, stop apologizing for who you are. I have been in conversations with people where I have shared my opinion on certain things, whether that's, like, I don't know, just like on certain situations, I've shared my opinion. I will think about my opinion or the thing that I said, or I'm always thinking, I'm like, fuck, did I hurt the other person for contradicting the way that they think? Or, did I do this or did I do that or whatever, And I will literally sit there and think about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And out of nowhere, it'll just come up in my head. And then again, I start feeling guilty. I'm stopping that because that is making me cling on to things that I've said that I'm like, I don't regret what I said. Like, it is what I said, but I'm just going to learn to be so confident in the things that I speak. But that also means, you guys, to take the time to think before you say something. But also being confident in, like, if this is truly what you believe and this is truly like what you value in life, then be confident about that and stop apologizing for either having a different opinion than other people or for being in the moment and sharing your opinion. Like, stop being so sorry for who you are. You guys, you have worked so hard to become the woman that you are today, and to the way that you react and the way that you walk through life, the way that you respond to people, the way that you treat people. You have worked so hard to become her. Stop apologizing for being her, okay? All right, girl, period, mic drop. Number 4 is addressing problems directly. Girl, this one's a hard one. This one is a hard one because I feel like it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning and setting standards. A way for you to set a boundary is to be able to address things directly. Like, I'm no longer like doing that whole passive aggressive shit. Like, if you have a problem with me, let me know. Like, if we're that close and you're somebody that I value, let me know what problem it is that you have with me. And if you don't give a fuck enough to come and tell me that you have a problem with me, then we're really not that close friends. You know what I mean? And I do the same things with my friendships. Like, if I have a problem with you, I will always come to you directly. Like, confrontation, girl, here I go again. Confronting people has never been a problem for me, you guys. And I don't know why. It has just never been that way. I think I've always been very open in expressing my feelings and, with certain people that I care about. I've always been very open in sharing, like, I guess the way that I'm feeling or the way that someone made me feel because of that. And I feel like it does depend for sure on the situation and like how deep it actually is. Because, like, for example, I'm going to share this with you guys. Sorry, mom. My mom does not like me literally bringing up things with her. But honestly, I have seen so much growth in my mom and it's crazy. But my mom, like, we had a recent, very, very direct conversation and things that I feel like have hurt me. I addressed the problem to the core, you guys, and you don't know the weight that it lifted off of my shoulders in both of ours, and it only strengthened our relationship. If you ever address a problem with someone that you truly care about and it makes your relationship better, that person always loved you. That person was always meant to be in your life. If you have a conversation with someone about something that really, really hurt you and you address a problem and you guys are no longer friends, you guys were never friends to begin with. I promise you. It's literally like you cannot bring up a very strong problem. It's like a marriage, you guys. It's like me and my husband. If I ever have an issue with something, we bring it up and we address it right then and there and get over it, or learn how to get over it, or figure out how we can fix the problem. but because we truly love each other, we're truly meant to be in each other's life. And that goes for relationships, family members, friendships, like friendship. I was about to say friendships, girl. That goes for friendships. Like, if you have a friend and you guys have, say, like a little bit of animosity or just some type of like something in between you guys, some tension that you guys have a problem that you have not directly addressed, I highly recommend you guys sit there and address it and figure out, like, is your relationship going to grow from it, or is your guys' friendship going to just like, we got to separate, we got to go, you know, because that's how you really start to cut off the people that are meant to be in your life and the people that are not meant to be in your life. So anyways, number 5 is no longer begging people. Girl, I feel like honestly, I might title this the 5 hard truths of maturity or being a mature woman, because these are very, very hard things to go through, you guys. But if you have been in an era of working on yourself, developing yourself, these are going to come easy for you. I am in a point in my life where I am going to no longer beg people. I feel like for a long time, I was like really fiending for friendships and for girls and like just to have like really strong girl friendships that in a way I was almost forcing them. Like I would literally just hang out with anybody, like build, you know, I would whatever. But I was treating these people like if they were my best friends, but they weren't treating me like if I was their best friends. I hope if that makes sense. And honestly, I'm in a point where I'm just like, I am no longer going to beg you to be in my life. And girl, I highly recommend that you do the exact same. Like, you are so valuable. You have worked so hard on yourself that these people that you are begging to be in your life do not deserve to be in your life. It's like almost, you guys, like, I'm trying to think of like a good analogy, but I can't think of one right now. Like, you have worked so hard to build this person that you are, this woman that you are. Why would you just give it to people that are on fucking clearance, that are literally not even taking the time to work on themselves? Like, no. It's like, for example, let's just say you want this. I'm going to try to like come up with something. Let's just say you have been wanting this bag, right? This Louis Vuitton bag, like you have been eyeing it for the longest time. So you have been working really hard to save your money to buy this bag, right? You're going to buy this bag and this bag only. You're working your ass off. You're like, I deserve it. I have worked so hard to earn this bag. I'm going to get it. Why the fuck would you go to Ross? Nothing wrong with Ross, but I'm trying to give you guys an example. Why would you go to Ross and buy a $7.99 bag when you have worked so hard to earn this job? You worked for it, girl. So go and get it for yourself. Like, it is okay to go and spoil yourself and get that. You know, there's nothing wrong with the bag from Ross. I'm just trying to share with you guys that if you have worked so hard for something, you are deserving of it, you guys. You are so deserving. And the same thing goes with the people that you surround yourself with. You have worked so hard to become the woman that you are, that these people do not deserve to be in your life if they're not treating you the way that you want them to treat you. You know, like, it's time to stop begging people to treat you the way that you deserve, because you have worked so hard on yourself. You have worked so hard on your mental health, on setting boundaries, on setting standards for the way that people treat you, that you're no longer going to allow people in who don't deserve to be in your life. Okay. I had to share that with you guys because I'm sorry if that was a stupid ass analogy, by the way, but I just had to share it because I needed to make perfect sense. And yeah, you guys, that was pretty much like all the 5 things that I really had on my list. But I just really want to take the time to sit here and give ourselves a little round of applause for all of the hard work that we have done on ourselves, because we deserve it. We deserve to be spoiled. We deserve to be treated right. We deserve to have very strong connections in our life. And we don't deserve to have people who don't value us as women, or but oh my gosh, why can't I not say that? We don't deserve people or relationships who do not value who we are and who do not value the hard work that we have done on ourselves. And yeah, you guys, this is pretty much an episode to share with you, to not settle, set your boundaries, like learn to be and embrace the confident ass woman that you have worked so hard to become, girl. So I challenge you this week to either, if you feel like you have a hard conversation in your life that you have been avoiding and that you need to have, girl, go ahead, set up that appointment, be like, girl, let's go get a coffee date because we need to talk about this. Whatever the case may be, I highly challenge you guys to start setting those standards and start setting those boundaries for the way that you allow people to treat you. Guys, my camera died, so I had to take a little quick pause, even though you guys won't even notice. But I just pretty much wanted to like reiterate that I am in a phase in my life where like I want the very best. Like I'm just being very protective of the woman that I worked for and very protective of, how hard I've worked on myself. And I feel like this is just a very big realization since I've gotten older that I'm just like I am no longer easy access. Like I am no longer wasting my energy on people that don't deserve my energy, and I'm also going to be very strict on the boundaries that I set for myself. So I hope that you guys really found a lot of value and that you guys could relate to pretty much like, I guess, the phase in my life that I am. And please share any other tips that you guys have or your experience with just feeling more of like a mature woman in the comments. Please make sure to check out my videos on YouTube. My podcast is on YouTube as well. And yeah, I hope you guys have such an amazing week, you guys. And thank you again for listening and for, allowing me to have 30 minutes of your day. And it honestly, I appreciate it so much. And yeah, don't forget to check us out on Instagram and on YouTube. It's on Cafecito con Daisy on YouTube. It's on my personal channel. You can also check out my other vlogs and different videos that I have on there, as well as on Instagram, the Daily Cafecito podcast. And yeah, you guys, I hope you guys have such an amazing week, and I will catch you guys on next week's episode because we do have our very, very first guest of the Daily Cafecito podcast, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So enough of that, you guys. I hope you guys have such an amazing day, and yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next episode.